Welcome to All Sorts Podcast, where we like to unravel interesting stories, and dive deep into captivating subjects.
Yeah.
Today we're going on a journey to uncover a story that unfolded under like a shroud of secrecy.
Yeah.
China's censorship during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Right.
We've got a stack of insightful articles focusing on how the government controlled information.
Oh, yeah.
Stifled dissenting voices, and shaped the narrative around the global health crisis.
Absolutely.
Get ready to explore the tactics they employed, the human impact of those actions, and the brave individuals who dared to push back.
It's really fascinating because we're not just going to look at like broad policies.
Right.
We're really going to zoom in on how these censorship efforts played out in the lives of everyday people.
Yeah.
Imagine living in a world where sharing your own experiences could be deemed a threat.
It's almost like stepping into an alternate reality, isn't it?
Yeah.
So to really understand the context, let's rewind back to December 2019 in Wuhan, where it all began. Our sources, including like a really detailed Wikipedia article, paint a picture of a city shrouded in confusion and fear.
Yeah, and what's so striking is the initial delay in the official response. The Wikipedia article points out that while the first known case might have experienced symptoms as early as December 1st, it wasn't until December 31st that the Wuhan Health Authority issued a public notice about this new virus.
And even then, they downplayed the severity, claiming there was no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission and assuring the public that the disease was preventable and controllable.
Right.
They were urging people to wear masks, but also trying to project an image of like calm and control.
This raises a crucial question. Was this initial attempt to downplay the severity of the outbreak a deliberate strategy to control the narrative, or simply a reflection of the limited understanding of the virus at that time?
Yeah.
Remember, this was a completely novel coronavirus, and scientists were still racing to understand its properties and transmission patterns.
That's a great point. It's easy to look back with hindsight and judge those early decisions. But we have to remember that everyone was operating with incomplete information.
Right.
However, what we do know is that this early attempt to control information had a chilling effect on those who tried to sound the alarm.
Absolutely. Think about Dr. Li Wenliang and the other whistleblowers.
Right.
Mostly medical professionals who recognized the potential danger of this new virus and tried to warn others. Instead of being listened to, they were silenced and punished by the authorities.
It's incredibly unsettling, right? The Freedom House article we have highlights the case of Tong Ziwei, a law professor in Shanghai, who was banned from posting on Weibo.
Oh, wow.
A popular Chinese social media platform for criticizing the government's lockdown measures.
Really?
His crime. He argued that authorities were acting illegally when they forced uninfected neighbors of COVID-positive individuals into collective quarantine.
And this wasn't an isolated incident. The suppression of information went beyond silencing individual voices. Remember when the WHO director, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, expressed concerns about the long-term sustainability of China's zero-COVID policy?
Oh, right. His remarks were swiftly scrubbed from the Chinese internet. It wasn't just the words themselves either. Images of him, his name, relevant hashtags, even accounts associated with the UN, all vanished.
Exactly. Any mention of his critiques simply disappeared. This pattern of censorship extended to journalists and researchers as well. Foreign journalists were often obstructed from reporting freely within China, and researchers investigating the origins of the virus faced significant roadblocks. It seems any voice that deviated from the official narrative, regardless of how credible or well-intentioned, was swiftly silenced.
Yeah.
This brings us to the heart of China's response to the pandemic, the zero-COVID policy.
Right, and the Freedom House article really paints a stark picture of how stringent those measures were.
Yeah.
We're talking about citywide lockdowns where millions of people were confined to their homes, sometimes for weeks or even months on end.
Wow.
There were also sweeping travel restrictions, constant mass testing campaigns, and the implementation of incredibly sophisticated surveillance technology.
Oh, wow.
They called it one person, one file, which is quite chilling when you think about it.
It's hard to grasp the sheer scale of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine your entire life being put on hold, your movements tracked, your daily routines dictated by the government.
Right.
While the initial goal was to completely eliminate the virus within China's borders, the human cost of these measures was immense.
And the Wikipedia article points out that while these measures were initially quite effective at curbing the spread, they eventually started to backfire.
Yeah.
Particularly as new more transmissible variants emerged,
Right.
it seems the virus proved to be much more adaptable than the government's rigid policies.
Exactly, and that inflexibility is where things started to unravel.
Mm.
But what's truly fascinating is how the Chinese people responded to this unprecedented level of control. Despite the risks, many found ingenious ways to express their discontent, share their stories, and push back against the censorship.
The story of Voices of April really exemplifies this, doesn't it?
Yes.
This 6-minute video compilation, which simply documented everyday experiences of the Shanghai lockdown, became a powerful symbol of dissent.
Right.
It wasn't a political statement or a call for revolution. It was just a collection of raw, unfiltered glimpses into what people were going through.
Imagine that a collection of personal stories completely apolitical in nature becoming a perceived threat to the authorities. But that's precisely what happened.
Yeah.
The government saw this outpouring of shared experiences as a challenge to their control over the narrative.
And the ways people try to share this video are a testament to their creativity and determination.
Oh, yeah.
They use blockchain technology, which, for those unfamiliar, is a way to create a permanent and tamper-proof record of information.
Right.
They embedded QR codes into seemingly harmless images and even created NFTs, those unique digital assets.
Wow.
All of this just to evade the censors.
It's remarkable, isn't it? It speaks to the deep human need to connect with others, to share our experiences, even in the face of oppression.
Yeah.
The censors might have been able to scrub individual posts and block specific websites, but they couldn't silence the collective voice that emerged.
And it wasn't just about expressing discontent or sharing frustrations. The Freedom House article highlights the tragic consequences of this censorship on ordinary people.
Right.
There were reports of people dying due to lockdown-related issues like being denied timely medical care or even suicides.
Wow.
All because the system was so focused on controlling the virus that it overlooked the very real human needs of its citizens.
These stories are a stark reminder that censorship doesn't exist in a vacuum. It has real-world consequences, sometimes dire ones,
Right.
and it often disproportionately affects the most vulnerable members of society.
This deep dive has been so eye-opening, hasn't it? Yes. We've uncovered how the Chinese government leveraged its vast resources to control information, silence dissent, and enforce strict policies, all in the name of public health. But on the other hand, we've also witnessed the incredible courage and resilience of the Chinese people finding creative ways to circumvent censorship, share their truths, and connect with one another. It makes you wonder about the long-term effects of all this, doesn't it? How will this experience shape digital habits and trust in authorities going forward?
That's a crucial question, and the Freedom House article offers some intriguing insights. It suggests that some Chinese citizens, disillusioned by the censorship and lack of transparency, have started to shift away from domestic platforms like WeChat and are exploring international apps like Telegram.
So they're looking for spaces where they can communicate more freely.
Yeah.
That makes sense given what we've learned about the controls within China's internet. But is that a sustainable trend? Can people realistically maintain these digital connections outside of the heavily monitored domestic platforms?
It's hard to say for certain, but it'll be fascinating to observe how this evolves. Could this be the beginning of a more fragmented Chinese internet where people seek information and connection outside the tightly controlled sphere of the government-regulated platforms? It's a possibility worth considering.
And then there's the question of trust. If even seemingly harmless expressions of shared experiences can be deemed a threat and swiftly censored, how does that impact people's faith in the information they receive from official sources?
That's perhaps the most enduring legacy of China's coronavirus censorship, a deep-seated skepticism and mistrust that could linger long after the pandemic has faded. It raises profound questions about the relationship between citizens and the state in the digital age.
So what does this all mean for us, even outside of China? What can we take away from this deep dive into their approach to censorship during the pandemic?
It serves as a powerful reminder of the fragility of freedom of expression even in our hyper-connected world. It underscores the importance of advocating for transparency, accountability, and the right to share our experiences without fear of reprisal.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? If even something as simple as sharing your personal experience during a lockdown can be seen as an act of dissent, where do we draw the line between legitimate information control and the suppression of fundamental human rights? This deep dive has certainly given us a lot to ponder. And that brings us to the end of another thought-provoking episode of the All Sorts podcast. We hope you found this exploration of China's coronavirus censorship insightful and engaging. If you did, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on future deep dives. And don't forget to connect with us on X, Instagram, and Threads for more behind-the-scenes content and updates. We have a treasure trove of captivating episodes waiting for you covering a wide range of fascinating topics. So why not explore our library and discover your next intellectual adventure? Until next time, stay curious, keep those minds open, and remember the world is full of extraordinary stories waiting to be uncovered.